Ahem. Can Jaguar Wright please come to the front of the class, please? Miss Wright, you used to say that you would walk girls out of the freak-off.
It's getting real wild out here because Orlando just teamed up with Allie Carter, and they are not holding back on Jaguar Wright. They straight up dragged her name through the mud. The two of them came with receipts and called her out hard, and guess what? It's looking like Jaguar been faking the whole time. Turns out all that jaw-dropping stuff she's been saying, none of it adds up. Either she's been repeating what she heard from someone else and twisting it to sound crazier, or she just made it up out of thin air. Just for clout, just for views, can you believe that? But wait, there's more. Not only has she been spreading all these over-the-top stories, but she's also tricked folks into thinking they gotta send her money. Real talk, she's been raking in thousands of dollars from YouTube channels that invite her to spill these so-called secrets. And that's not even counting the cash she's stacking from her own page. Every wild story brings in more clicks, and every click means more money in her pocket. People thought she was out here doing the real work, trying to shine a light on the dark side of the industry, but now she's just putting on a show and getting paid while playing everybody. Fans thought they were supporting a truth teller, but they were just getting scammed by a good storyteller. And the gag? Nobody saw it coming from Allie and Orlando. They're usually the ones calling out the industry too. So folks assumed they were all on the same team. But nope, they pulled up, aired her out, and now the whole scene is on fire. Allie isn't holding anything back. She says Jaguar's been coming for her ever since people started paying more attention to her voice. Jaguar couldn't handle the spotlight shifting, so she started throwing shade, scared she was losing control over the crowd. But that was just the beginning. Allie went in on her, saying Jaguar's nothing but a fake. She called her out for scamming folks online, taking in loads of cash just to sit there and feed people lies. Lies that real people are believing, hoping to finally get the truth. Allie said straight up, Jaguar's not some truth teller. She's a paid mole with a hidden agenda. Allie claims Jaguar's whole act is a setup, pretending to be for the people while secretly cashing in big time off their pain. She's using real issues to gain sympathy, all while lining her pockets. That's low. And here's the real kicker. Allie says Jaguar only shows up when her money's drying out. The moment her funds start looking funny, she pops back up with a brand new wild story, but it doesn't stop there. Once she gets folks hooked and wanting more, she holds the rest hostage unless she gets paid to keep talking. Allie's painting a picture of someone who's not just misleading people, but manipulating them for profit. And if what she's saying is true, Jaguar's been playing a whole different game than anyone thought. Allie didn't hold back at all. She said if Jaguar was really serious about exposing the truth, she wouldn't be out here asking for a paycheck before spilling it. If it was truly about justice, especially when it comes to protecting kids, she'd be speaking up without hesitation. No stalling, no deals, no price tags, just truth, period. But instead, Allie says Jaguar is out here playing dress up in truth seller clothes, pretending to be something she's not while real dangers go unchecked. And let's be real, there was no way Jaguar was gonna stay quiet after getting dragged like that. You already know she clapped back, and fast. She hopped on live and came for Ali with fire. Jaguar warned her to stop using her name for attention, saying loud and clear, "I'm not the one or the two." She let it be known that if Ali wants to keep pushing this, Jaguar is ready to take it all the way. No backing down, but Jaguar didn't stop there. Nah, she kept the heat coming. She pulled up for another interview and lit into Ali again. This time she came swinging, claiming she's not out here running her mouth without backup. Jaguar said she's got real receipts to prove what she's saying, unlike Allie, who she accused of just making noise with no proof. Jaguar was basically like, don't get it twisted, I talk facts, not fiction. She wanted it clear that when she speaks, she's not just guessing, she's got evidence, and if Allie wants a war, she's more than ready to keep it going. Now here's where it really started spiraling out of control. The reason folks began siding with Allie and coming for Jaguar so hard, it wasn't just because of Allie's claims, it was also because Orlando Brown had already gone public and aired Jaguar out in a major way. Before Allie even said a word, Orlando had accused Jaguar of doing something unthinkable, using her own late son's remains to perform witchcraft. Yeah, he really said that. He claimed she used dark rituals to trick people into believing her lies and gain their trust. And what's even crazier, he said it all right to her face, on camera. During the supposed team-up interview where they were meant to be exposing the industry together, things went completely off the rails. It went from being about spilling secrets to Orlando going full blast on Jaguar, calling her a liar and straight up accusing her of being obsessed with witchcraft. It all flipped when Jaguar crossed the line during the interview. She made a bold comment saying that Orlando had honored her for saving him. She was basically patting herself on the back and acting like she was his personal hero. That rubbed Orlando the wrong way real quick. He didn't like the idea of her painting herself as his savior. Not at all. That's when Orlando snapped. He did a full 180 and turned the spotlight on her. He wasn't about to let Jaguar sit there and tell the world she was his saving grace. Nope. He shut it down fast and started exposing what he believed to be the truth about her on the spot and with no filter. He flipped the whole vibe of the interview and turned it into a showdown, putting Jaguar in the hot seat like never before. Now this is where things got way out of hand. Orlando took it to another level when he accused Jaguar of doing voodoo on him. Yes, voodoo. He claimed that she blew her dead son's ashes on him, like some kind of twisted ritual, and even disrespected her late son's body in the process. The way he said it, he sounded disgusted, like he couldn't believe what he experienced. He even claimed that at one point he was trying to help her, trying to get her out of jail after she got locked up over the whole situation. But then he said he had to switch up quick once he found out what she was really on. According to him, she wasn't just out here being wild. She was doing spiritual work on people behind their backs, and he wanted no part of it. Now, for folks who missed it, this isn't just some wild rumor. A clip actually went viral a few years back that shows Jaguar blowing ashes, allegedly her sons, onto people and even dumping what's left all over herself during a dramatic moment. That video had people shook back then, and now it's being brought back into the spotlight all over again. But Orlando didn't stop at the voodoo claims. Nah, he kept throwing shade right in her face. He straight up told her he was over it, tired of doing the interview, tired of hearing her voice, tired of her. At one point, he even compared her to his baby mama, saying she talked way too much and never knew when to stop. That comparison hit hard, and you could tell the tension in that room was on 10. It was no longer just an interview, it was an all-out verbal brawl. Jaguar tried to play it cool after all that heat. She laughed off some of Orlando's jabs and even cracked a few jokes like it was no big deal. But let's be honest, people saw straight through it. The disrespect from Orlando was loud, and even though she brushed it off, the energy was tense. The whole situation between Jaguar, Ali, and Orlando had everybody talking, and when folks started digging deeper, that's when the real questions started flying. People began realizing that a lot of the wild claims Jaguar's been making for years don't match up with actual court testimony or verified witness statements, and the few things that did have a little truth to them, yeah, those were blown way out of proportion for drama and shock value. She knew how to make people gasp, and she played right into that. One of the biggest red flags, Jaguar claimed she was personally there during these infamous freak-offs, saying she would walk people out afterward like she was some kind of behind-the-scenes guide. Back then, folks believed her. There weren't many details out in the open, so it sounded legit. But now, thanks to real testimonies, especially from Cassie and others who were allegedly paid off, we know the truth looks very different. The way it's been described in court, these so-called freak-offs weren't big chaotic parties like Jaguar made it sound. It was more like a controlled setup, often just involving Diddy, Cassie, and a male escort, private, quiet, and tight-lipped. So that whole story about Jaguar hanging out by the door, waiting to escort folks out, completely made up for attention. She wasn't on the inside. She just knew how to make it sound like she was. All that extra detail just to keep people watching her every word. Things are looking real shaky for Jaguar right now. In the beginning, before the dust started to settle, it seemed like she was one of the few brave enough to speak truth to power. People rooted for her, thinking she was pulling back the curtain on some deep, dark industry secrets. But now, the entire story's flipping. Ali Carter came through accusing her of straight up lying and making bank off people's pain. That alone had folks raising eyebrows. Then came Orlando Brown with those wild witchcraft accusations saying she used her own son's ashes for dark rituals. That alone sent shockwaves through the internet. And now more and more people are starting to really listen to what Jaguar's been saying over the years. And let's just say the math ain't mathing. Folks are piecing it together and realizing that for years, she might have been serving fantasy as fact. One person put it perfectly. They said, it's like Jaguar Wright just read a bunch of Reddit threads and gossip blind items, sprinkled herself into the mix, and then practiced slam poetry performances on YouTube to build her whole persona. That hit hard. Another person came in even rougher, saying Jaguar was just a failed R&B singer who had one quick interaction with Jay-Z and has been stretching it ever since, like she's trying to rewrite herself into music history. They said she talks like she was Mary J. Blige's competition when she was barely in the room. Now the internet split. Some believe she's finally getting exposed for peddling lies and turning trauma into a paycheck. Others still think there might be some truth in what she said, but that the industry is spinning it around now, trying to paint her as crazy to shut her up for good. So what do you think? Is Jaguar a mastermind manipulator or a silenced whistleblower? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you thought this was messy, wait until you see the next video. Click here to keep the drama going.